fall here. Good morning. Thank you. As I stand up in front of you all today, I'm thinking to myself, wow, I can't believe that I still have to use the stool after 4 years of attending Appleby College. I guess some things don't change. Change. It's something that we all experience. And growth? We are all still growing, no matter how old or how tall we are. We grow from new experiences and different relationships every day. And those are the two main things that I believe shape our lives the most. The prefects had a brilliant theme of "What's your story?" It was so impactful to hear the different stories throughout the year. Each week, upon hearing a chapel speech, it made me think everyone has a unique story to tell. And that very soon, I would be in this very position telling you my story. Though people know me as a friendly face around campus, the truth is it takes a while for me to really open my shell. Yet, I'm going to do that today. I'm going to take you on a journey. My name is Eboni Branch, and this is my story. While I grew up right here in Oakville, my parents were fortunate enough to grow up in the beautiful island of Spice, Grenada. When I was 2 years old, my parents split up, and I lived with my mom along with weekly visits with my dad. I'm extremely thankful that I have a strong relationship with both my parents. Now, most of you know I'm a church girl, so I go to church every Sunday. Both church and having strong faith has always been important to me in my life. Church also helped me develop my passion for singing. My mom has told me countless times that I sang my first solo at 2.5 years old. Although I was too young to remember, my mama don't lie. I remember my very first day of grade 1. My mom took me out of regular stream public school and enrolled me in French immersion school, École Pine Grove. Looking back, I had a positive experience at Pine Grove. I was highly involved in the school culture, the arts, academically focused, and eventually I learned how to speak a bit of French. I never really had a clique per se, but I did have many friends, so I guess you can say I was a floater. My elementary school journey soon came to an end as I was about to close this chapter of my story and begin a new chapter called high school. This was the moment I've been waiting for all my life. I dreamed of high school being just like High School Musical, meeting a Troy Bolton and happily ever after the end, but not quite. However, I did have goals, and I was sure that Blakelock High School was the school for me. I loved the school, it was French immersion, how perfect. I would be with my friends, and it was close to my house. I just had to go. Now, one day in my grade 8 class, my teachers announced that there was an opportunity to be awarded the A Award. This was a very well-known award at school, as the students selected for the award were true representations of the school. The requirements were to write a statement as to how you represent the 4 A's: academics, attitude, arts, and athletics. Now, believe it or not, I was on the track team in grade 6, so I had at least one thing to write about for athletics. But I was certain that there are other things I could write for the other sections. When I handed in my statement, I had a huge smile on my face as I had printed the document on a beautiful rainbow-bordered outline paper and identified myself under the 4 A's. I couldn't have been more proud of myself. On graduation day, everyone was dressed to the nines. Back then I wore a weave, so I flipped it back when I stepped in. This was it. I was graduating. I remember sitting anxiously in my seat as I was asked to sing at this ceremony. Just before my solo, it was time for the A Award presentations. With the last name Branch, I would be one of the first to go up. The A's went, the B's. Well, there must be a mistake, I thought to myself. The 2 seats beside me were empty, as I saw the majority of my classmates up for the award, and I was one of the few who were left behind. It was the first time that I actually felt rejected. I felt as though my achievements had failed. What were my parents thinking? I was afraid to even see their faces. Have you ever felt this way? The feeling of rejection? No matter how big or how small the situation, the feeling is pretty bad. A rejection from a university, a rejection from someone you asked on a date, a rejection from your family. It makes your stomach turn. And that's how I felt on graduation day 4 years ago. I was upset, but I knew that I had to be strong and enjoy the rest of the evening with my classmates. Looking back, I could have been mad at the teachers that did not choose me for the award, but I wasn't. It took me a while to realize, but the only way for me to move forward was to have a positive outlook on the experience. I discovered this quote during second term of this year, and it really opened my eyes. I believe that it's so fitting to remember this in any situation. It goes like this: I'm convinced that life is 10% of what happens and 90% of how I react to it. And so it is with you. We are in charge of our attitudes. Charles Swindoll. I also grew up hearing "in everything give thanks," which is a Bible verse from 1 Thessalonians 5:18. When you get cut from the team or fail an exam, that's 10% of the experience. What's left is 90%, and that is how you react to that. Will you take that rejection and practice more, or go for extra help to do better? Or will you be upset and fail to believe in yourself? Why are we so quickly to negatively react to the events in our lives? If anything, I believe we learn the most through our failures. And I'll challenge you to take the next negative situation and write a list of all the positive things you can gain from that. It's interesting how you'll begin to see the glass half full rather than half empty. I had just returned from my grade 8 trip, and I remember being briefly welcomed home and asked a question. "Where do you see yourself going to school next year?" my mom asked. If you remember from my elaborate plan earlier on, I said, "Blakelock, Mom, everyone's going." She then began to explain, "Well, what if you had the opportunity to go to Appleby College?" What? No way. From what I heard from a public school standpoint, I was not going to Appleby. So I simply replied, "No, Mom, I'm going to Blakelock." I already knew that we couldn't afford Appleby, living with my single mom in a lower income, so I was trying to figure out why she was bringing this up. "Well, someone nominated you for a scholarship, Eboni. I would like for you to apply." Both my parents talked it through and thought that it would be a great idea to just apply. Even if I didn't get it, the worst thing I could hear was no. But maybe that's what I feared, another rejection. But you never know if you don't try, is what my parents taught me. I remember weeks going by over the summer, and I didn't touch the application once until one day. I wrote down everything: my co-curriculars, my achievements, my goals, my story, in hopes for an acceptance, for someone to recognize that I was worth it, maybe. One day, the caller ID said Appleby College. I froze and answered, "Hello? Hello, is this Eboni?" "Yes," I said. My heart was thumping out of my chest. "I want to congratulate you and welcome you to Appleby College. We've received your application and you've been accepted." I could never forget the feeling of tears instantly streaming down my face. I was accepted. I was overjoyed. I couldn't even speak. I'm pretty sure I deafened Mrs. Reese's ears from the sound of my weeping. But I was so happy. There was really no other way to describe it. I was going to begin a new chapter of my life, one of the first Centennial Scholars here at Appleby College, a fresh new start, which was different from what I expected. Who would have known that 4 years ago today, I would be standing here in front of all of you, telling you my story. Sometimes in life, we plan for things to go a certain way or expect to get something, but we really have to remember that things may not always go our way, and sometimes the bad things happen before the good. I soon realized that my preconceptions of Appleby College were way off. I loved it here. I knew friends from before, and it was easy to make new ones. I got involved, but never did I feel judged by anyone. I was being me. Regardless of my background, family, status, people accepted me. Although this was the case, I was a little ashamed of my story sometimes. I would see people with things I couldn't afford, hear about vacations maybe too expensive to travel to, and I wanted it. But I had to make a decision to pull myself from that mindset. We humans tend to spend time wishing what others have, when in reality, we have to be thankful for what we have right in front of us and be happy with it. Even though I am a happy person, my life wasn't always that easy. When I was 11 years old, so about 7 years ago, my mama told me something that no child would ever want to hear their mother say. She said, "I have cancer." Later on, I found out that my mom had a terminal cancer. The doctor said she only had 2 to 6 months to live. 1 in a million patients have this rare type of cancer, and without conventional treatment, my mother somehow found a way to wow the doctors. One doctor even walked out of the office, shaking his head, threw his hands up in the air, and said, "I don't understand." There are a lot of things in life we don't understand. I don't understand it, but I know my mom is still here with me today, and I'm forever grateful for the 7 years that I've had with her since the diagnosis, and for the life in store for her in the future. During this difficult journey, I had my ups and downs worrying about my mom's health. I felt alone. I felt like no one knew what I was going through, that no one ever would. And there was a time that I went through a doubting phase. I doubted the faith that had helped me during my entire life. I found that I was even hating God. So one night, I said a prayer. Not like my usual bedtime prayer. It was almost like I was testing God. I was only 11 years old, so I didn't know any better. But my prayer went a little like this. "Dear God, I know you're there. Well, at least I hope you are. But God, if you're real, please," and this is where the prayer got real. I was like, "Please let me meet Justin Bieber." Like, what? That's right, ladies and gentlemen, I prayed to meet the Biebs. Now, this was a while ago, so it was a pretty big deal. At the time, I kind of shocked myself with that very prayer. And I remember beginning to doubt my own prayer about my doubts. Nevertheless, I thought that it would never happen. But who would have known that I was going to meet JB 2 weeks later at the airport on my way to New York City? Now, I'm not telling you to pray to God and you'll meet your favorite celebrity, although that would be pretty sweet. It's just that life sometimes gives us different situations to give us hope or teach us lessons. Regardless if you have a faith or not, I believe that different situations in your life can give you signs. Maybe a sign to slow down a little, or a sign to motivate you, or a sign just to tell you that everything is going to be okay. I know there are many people who have helped me get this far in my life, to my close friends and mentors who have been there for me no matter what, to my loving parents who have taught me the core values that I live up to this day. Thank you, and I love you. So where am I now? I'm about to graduate in a few weeks with everyone in senior 2. Woo! I'm ending a chapter of my life that I felt like it was just beginning. I'm happy, healthy, and excited to see what will be written in my next chapter of life. I'm only 18 years old, and so are a bunch of you, and many even younger. Faculty, you're 18 at heart. Let us all cherish life. We all have years ahead of us, including many opportunities to learn, grow, and change. Today, I feel it's important to say, don't ever be ashamed of your story. It's what makes you unique. Most importantly, love your friends and family, and let respect be a core value, since you never know what else someone else is experiencing. Senior 2s, where are we now? We're graduating in 21 days. Can you believe it? How are you individually going to make the most out of those 21 days? I challenge you to do something each day that you can be proud of to leave behind as your mark in this special place. Whatever your plans may be in the next few years, I wish you all the best, and I know you'll do great things. Senior ones, you have 1 year left on this beautiful campus. How will you make an impact to those around you? And how will you grow from your experiences? And to my friends, mentors, teachers, and parents, don't forget that change is a good thing, and that how you react to something is 90% of the situation. Finally, to everyone, thank you for welcoming me into this loving community, a special place in which I otherwise wouldn't have been able to experience. So that's it? Well, yeah, that's only the beginning of my story. So what's yours? Now will you all please rise and sing hymn number 418 loud and proud with me, Draw the Circle Wide.